meeting of the Aurora City Council, February 25th, 2025. The order, Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Alderman Barrero.
Here.
Alderwoman Garza.
Here.
Alderman Masiacos.
Present.
Alderman Denal.
Here.
Alderman Franco.
Here.
Alderman Seville.
Here.
Alderman Tolliver.
Here.
Alderwoman Smith.
Here.
Alderman Bug.
Here.
Alderwoman Bade.
Here.
Alderman Lash. Alderman Warman.
Here.
And Mayor Irvin is present.
Is there a motion to approve the appointment of Sergeant Arms for this
Second.
meeting? Motion made by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Garza. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries by voice vote. Mr. Muhammad.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. As we celebrate Black History Month, tonight's Pledge of Allegiance leader and invocation speaker are one and the same. 15 years ago, he retired from the United States Navy after achieving the rank of commander. He served our country as a Navy chaplain for 24 years. And 12 years ago, he arrived in Aurora as the third and only pastor of Progressive Baptist Church. If we can please welcome Pastor Kevin Bedford. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Our Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is with great respect for all of the religious traditions that are present here that I ask you to join me in common words of prayer. Let us pray. Lord, we thank you for the many blessings that sustain our lives. May your Holy Spirit help us to govern tonight with understanding, with fairness and integrity. May the decisions of this council meeting reflect the principles that you call us to serve with this community. Lord, I ask your blessings on all who call Aurora, Illinois their home. Bless this meeting that we can work together for the common good. I pray in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. All right, Mr. Muhammad, do we have any presentations this evening?
Yes, we have an invocation certificate for the pastor who can please join us, Mayor.
All right.
As we celebrate Black History Month, we did a presentation this weekend for HSS Aurora talking about some of the luminaries of Black history of Aurora. And of course, when we talk about those legends of Black Aurora, we can't leave out the great Reverend Robert Wesby, who founded Progressive Baptist Church some 60 plus years ago. And he served for so many years before his assassination in the late 80s, working with Reverend Jackson and the Civil Rights Movement. Was then taken over by Reverend Brown, who then served faithfully. And as I said, 12 years ago, we brought in an amazing leader of Progressive Church, who for the last dozen years has certainly taken on a new leadership role here in our faith and cultural communities. If we can please welcome to the mayor again, Pastor Kevin Bedford. Please join the mayor down. Thank you. We have a presentation. And on Sunday, after the mayor presents the certificate, we'll ask Pastor Bedford to share what's happening at his church on Sunday.
Now, it's my honor to give this certificate of appreciation from the city of Aurora and the Aurora City Council. It's for our sincere thanks to Pastor Kevin Bedford for serving our community, helping to build Aurora together, and for giving of your time to lead the invocation at the City Council meeting on Tuesday, February 25th, 2025. Let's give Pastor Bedford a round of applause.
And Pastor Bedford, you can share the greatness that's going to happen at Progressive on Sunday.
So this Sunday, our community is welcome to attend. We are hosting Howard University, their gospel choir from Washington, D.C., at our church here at Aurora. Howard University is one of the oldest historically black universities in our nation, and their choir is one of the longest serving choirs in our nation. I say they've been singing over 100 years. They're all of the 55 students and grad students from Howard University will be with our church at 5 p.m. Sunday, and the whole community is welcome to be a part of that. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you, Mayor. And as the mayor takes his seat, we remind everyone, we close out what we call the crowning event of Black History Month in Aurora on Friday at the 19th Annual Heritage Dinner hosted by the Aurora African American Heritage Advisory Board. We look forward to seeing you there. More than 450 people will be in attendance as we celebrate our youth and community advocates. Thank you, Mayor and City Council.
Thank you very much. That concludes our community affairs presentation. At this time, we're going to start our regular portion of the meeting. So those that are here for the presentations, I'll give you an opportunity to file out if you want to. If you'd like to stay with us for our meeting, we'd appreciate your presence, value it. But we'll go on to the next section of the agenda, public comment. Madam Clerk, do we have any members of the public wishing to offer public comment?
We do, Mr. Mayor.
Will you read the rules of public comment, please?
Pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, all persons shall be permitted an opportunity to address public officials under the rules established and recorded by the council. Under our rules, any person may address the city council for up to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes allotted for all public comment. No person other than the timekeeper or the chair for the purpose of maintaining order may interrupt a person recognized for public comment during his or her comments. Members of the city council shall not engage with nor respond to a speaker during the time set aside for public comment. Staff is directed to follow up with members of the public with respect to any concerns raised during public comment within the scope of the city's authority following the adjournment of this meeting.
Madam Clerk, will you call the first speaker wishing to offer public comment?
Nadia Kanai.
Ms. Kanai, you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now. Feel free to adjust the microphone so we can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. Good evening. First of all, I'd like to wish all the primary candidates this evening good luck, and thank you for putting yourselves out there for public service. But tonight, I'm commemorating a community leader who worked behind the scenes, and to ask all of you to model yourselves after the integrity of this incredible woman who spoke truth to power in our community. I'm speaking, of course, about my larger-than-life friend, Margie Logman. I know her truth-telling sometimes made you uncomfortable. Sometimes her public comments made me feel uncomfortable, too. But that's the wonderful thing about Margie. She called things the way that they were, no mincing of words. Another wonderful thing about Margie was the way that she mentored so many of us, without us even knowing we were being mentored. It was our common passion for racial justice that brought Margie and I together, and I proudly wear my National Civil Rights Museum t-shirt. I loved meeting new people with Margie, and I was always amazed at the deep relationships she had formed with them. I imagine Margie with us here tonight, and I hope she will finally receive the respect she earned and deserved from public officials. This bright, caring woman didn't deserve to be treated disrespectfully. But today, that it doesn't matter. She's earned her reward and nurtured and taught many of us community leaders in her wake. Rest in power, Margie Logman. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, call the next speaker.
Matt Orr.
Mr. Orr, you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now.
Thank you. I wanted to read a little passage that I put on the internet a few weeks ago. It is entitled "Elections Have Consequences." Imagine attacking your opponents, flicking off public speakers at city council meetings, letting aldermen that side with you berate public speakers while silencing anyone who voices opposition. Imagine posting social media bashing the legitimacy of a candidate without spell checking and misspelling the candidate in question's name. Imagine having your former campaign manager build a website, wrongforaurora.com, to bash your opponents with a bogus political committee. The truth is, you don't have to imagine any of this. These are the tactics Mayor Irvin will go to win an election. Aurora friends, we have a chance on February 25th to vote for a candidate of our choosing from a strong field and voting again in April to bring real change to the dais. Let's do better, Aurora. We must do better, Aurora. We can do better, Aurora. I would also like to state, I have no, disapproval of what happened, Carl. I understand, sometimes tensions get heated, but, your actions were out of line and should be noted. At the same time, when another alderman steps up to speak and is silenced, that's also a problem too. I'd also like to add, Alderman Lynn Johnson of the 10th Ward, about 10 years ago, arrested for shoplifting, arrested again for shoplifting from the same Meyer on Route 59. You were the only alderman at the time that voted to side with her to keep her on the dais. That at the time was a problem because, you're caught red-handed doing something, not once. I could understand once, due process, but a second time, she was helping out with your campaign, that's a problem. Everyone on this dais is held to a standard, and when that standard is not met, we need new leadership in that position. I hope you guys all the best. I know multiple of you guys are running tonight. May God bless you guys. Good luck.
Madam Clerk, call the next speaker. Call the next speaker.
Adam Pauley.
As Mr. Pauley approaches to speak, let the record reflect that Alderman Lash is present in the council chambers. Mr. Pauley, you have 3 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Yes, best wishes to everybody, especially the people I'll be sharing the ballot with today. I got off work at 6 a.m. this morning, and I started Election Day, as I always do, in church. And when I prayed, I didn't pray for victory. My prayer this morning was for peace and acceptance of the results, whatever they may be. I want to thank everyone who has helped me, not just on my campaign or in my 7 years of public service, but in all the facets of my life. I am truly, truly a blessed individual. And the fact that I'm able to stand here today as the person that I am is truly a testament to this community. Aurora is truly a city of decent people who have a shared past and a shared struggle because we share the same destiny. It is with that in mind that I am confident that our brightest days still lie ahead. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, call the next speaker.
David Cannon.
Mr. Cannon, you have 3 minutes to speak, beginning now.
Hi, esteemed alders, fellow citizens. I am also here today to commemorate the woman that was Margie Logman. I think it's important to remember people who show up in government, whether you're elected, whether you're just a person who lives in town. She was an advocate. She fought for other people that were not her. She gave voice to people who could not show up on their own. I think I can best commemorate her just by reading one of her many commentaries that hit The Voice back in 2023. So this is Margie. Aurora can revert, place for all. I sold my soul to the company store. This is the title of an old song often sung by Tennessee Ernie Ford. I thought it describes very well our current City Hall government in Aurora. With its rules of loyalty, a specific lingo, and misuse of funds, it is more a company than government of, for, and by the people. Most businesses brought to town incur the loyalty pledge, which includes words and cash. The profiteers are the company over the will of the people, especially the everyday folks. How many realize the amount of our money that goes to bring businesses here and then continues to support them? How many businesses would stay open downtown without your money supporting them? How much has this enriched owners and a variety of city personal pockets? I spoke with the casino owners a while back, and they had no interest in moving until the mayor made a trip offering millions to move. The owner is known for his pocketing funds for himself and stockholders, a recent article related. What exactly are the demographics that will attend the casino, as it will draw from a limited area due to others expanding? Will it become another eyesore in Aurora of something that didn't go but enriched the elite? Batavia Schools thanks Aurora because the property is in their tax base. As we can see from the deregulation during Donald Trump's presidency, problems have occurred with bank failings and 2 major train derailments recently. It may take a while, but City Hall's deregulations on construction, especially on the downtown area, will show fault sooner or later. The Tribune calls the Paramount an oasis in the middle of the desert. What is City Hall's obsession with being famous? True fame comes naturally. And how many residents see the need for fame here? If one looks back into our history, this is a common theme that's come and gone only to return. Many an entertainment plan.
Your time is
hotel plan,
completed, sir. Thank you.
development
Call the next speaker, Madam Clerk.
Shannon Buckley.
Madam, you have 3 minutes to speak beginning now.
Good evening, Council. My name is Shannon Buckley. I'm a 4th Ward resident and a community organizer. This evening, I want to acknowledge the tremendous loss of Margie Logman, an Aurora resident, former educator, and fellow community organizer and advocate who passed away a few days ago. I was fortunate enough to get to know Margie over the last several years as she started attending events hosted by Aurora Mutual Aid. Every time she spoke, she always had a story to tell and a lesson embedded in that story. Unfortunately, many of those stories involved her being labeled a naysayer and being gaslit by those in power. In Margie's words, in a letter to the editor in The Voice in 2023, she stated, "Being a gaslighter is tempting because it gives a sense of power and prestige that in the end proves shallow. Looking at the good while denying the legitimate negative is gaslighting, not only in Aurora, but much of America today. When we're in a boat with them and someone yells water is coming in and they say otherwise, be careful. They have brought one-man rafts to save themselves before the ship goes down." I quote this because when you have that one-man raft, when you are only watching out for yourself, you survive that moment, but in the end, you are still alone. The lessons I want people to take from Margie and her life in the last few years are that we need to show up for the most marginalized in our community. We need to show up for the disabled, the elderly, the immigrant, the unhoused, the trans kids and adults, the formerly incarcerated, our Black and Brown community members, and all working class people. Together, we cannot just survive, but we can thrive. In the spirit of Margie, I would also like to address the fact that while I was grabbing a package from my porch today, City of Aurora employees stopped by my house to take my John Lash and Keith Larson yard signs. They claim that they were in the parkway, but it's a little difficult to determine where a parkway is when you have no sidewalks. I find it strange that they were removed now on Election Day, considering they've been there since December. But I figure this is just further proof and evidence that of this administration silencing the community. And we will continue to show up, and we will continue to voice our concerns. Whether you win or lose, for all of the Margies out there, we will continue to show up. Thank you.
Any additional speakers, Madam Clerk?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Let's go on to the next portion of the agenda. Next, we will hear both the consent agenda and the direct to council consent agenda in full. Will you please read both agendas in full?
240572, a resolution to award the Middlebury Drive to La Jolla Court Water Main Project located in Ward 9 to H. Linden and Sons Sewer and Water in the bid amount of $438,280. 240880, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with Great Lakes Urban Forestry of Batavia in the amount of $150,000 to conduct a tree inventory and develop an urban forestry management plan. 240913, a resolution authorizing the execution of an engineering agreement with Alfred Benish and Company in the not-to-exceed amount of $315,979 and the appropriation of $315,979 of MFT funds for the 2025-2026 bridge inspections. 240954, a resolution authorizing the city to accept a grant award of $18,503.76 from the fiscal year 25 Illinois Department of Transportation State and Community Highway Safety National Priority Safety Programs Grant. 241005, an ordinance annexing property located at 40 West 098 Galena Boulevard to the city of Aurora. 250017, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to implement Phase 1 of a digital signage solution from HyperSign, Drayton, South Carolina, and Cipher Technology Solutions for a total award of $189,125. 250069, a resolution establishing the maximum number of Class C specialty on-site consumption liquor licenses unofficially related to the application from Whitney's Love at 302 West Indian Trail, Suite A in Ward 6. 250076, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute an amendment to a design phase engineering agreement in the not-to-exceed amount of $14,800 and execute a construction phase engineering agreement in the not-to-exceed amount of $102,300 with Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley. This resolution will also authorize an agency agreement with the state of Illinois for the Rehabilitate Airfield Lighting Vault and Replace Vault Generator projects located at the Aurora Municipal Airport. 250079, an ordinance establishing a conditional use plan development, approving the Las Rosas plan description, and amending Chapter 49 of the Code of Ordinances by modifying the zoning map attached thereto to an underlying zoning of R5 Multiple Family Dwelling District, R4 Two Family Dwelling District, and R2 One Family Dwelling District for the property located at 550 Second Avenue and 545 to 563 East Benton Street. 250080, a resolution approving the final plat for lots 1 through 3 of Las Rosas subdivision located at 550 Second Avenue and 545 to 563 East Benton Street. 250081, a resolution approving a final plan for Lot 1 of Las Rosas subdivision located at 550 Second Avenue for a mixed-use development. 250089, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the low bid from Gulf Acquisition Group for maintenance and repairs of the APD parking deck in the amount of $111,417 and a 10% contingency of $11,141. 250098, a resolution awarding the 2025 sewer televising contract to Pipe View DBA Pipe View America in the amount of $648,860.00. 250099, a resolution authorizing the Director of Purchasing to enter into an agreement with Schroeder Asphalt Services in the amount of $1,006,500 for the 2025 citywide pavement patching for water and sewer maintenance. 250101, a resolution to approve the purchase of 31 United Shield brand ballistic shields and accessories from MES Lawman Supply of Deer Creek, Illinois in the amount of $70,000. 250106, a resolution authorizing the purchase of golf course maintenance equipment from Reindeers using Sourcewell Cooperative Contract for $297,053. 250112, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora and the Aurora Township Highway Department for the resurfacing of Molitor Road. 250113, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora and Naperville Township for the resurfacing of Molitor Road. 250120, a resolution approving the First Amendment and Second Amendment to the Sun Code leases at the Aurora Municipal Airport. 250142, approval of the minutes of the Tuesday, February 11th, 2025 City Council meeting. 250125, an ordinance proposing the establishment of a special service area for stormwater management purposes to be designated as SSA 221 SEK Sherburne related to real property commonly known as 624 West Illinois Avenue and calling for a public hearing thereon for various listed pins. 250126, An ordinance proposing the establishment of a special service area for stormwater management purposes to be designated as SSA 222 Seafried Butterfield Lot 502, related to real property commonly known as 2815 Bilter Road, and calling for a public hearing thereon for PIN 0705105003. 250139, an ordinance proposing the establishment of a special service area for stormwater management purposes to be designated as SSA 223, related to real property commonly known as 791 North Farnsworth, and calling for a public hearing thereon for numerous pins. 250140, an ordinance proposing the establishment of a special service area for stormwater management purposes to be designated as SSA 224, related to real property commonly known as 743 McClure Road, and calling for a public hearing thereon for numerous pins.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Garza. Before we entertain that motion and second to pass the consent agenda and direct council consent agenda, are there any motions to remove any items from either agenda or any questions on either agenda? Alderman Seville.
And just a brief question, Mayor, on 624 West Illinois Avenue, just wanted to clarify what stormwater maintenance facility will this be maintaining if it goes from dormant to active?
Which number is that? Which item number?
It is item number 25-10125.
Mr. Schroll?
Good evening, Ken Schroth, Public Works Department. Legal can correct me if I'm wrong, but all of these are dormant SSAs strictly for stormwater?
I understand that, but if they go from dormant to active, what are we maintaining?
It would be there, typically it's many times because these sites are kind of tight, some of the stormwater volume is actually provided in a pipe or inside naturalized swales. So I'd have to look specifically at this one. I can give that to you, but it was defined by our engineering department.
Yeah, I was just curious because there was a new building recently in it, built there, and I just want to know if that's what triggered this.
I believe it is, but I can confirm that.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm happy with it.
Okay.
You can.
Yeah, I'll follow up with you.
Yes, sounds good.
Any other questions
Thank you, Barry.
of any items on either agenda? There being none, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Alderman Barrero?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries. The consent agenda and direct to council consent agenda are both approved. Madam Clerk, you read the item under unfinished business.
250107, a resolution authorizing a payment to AT&T for up to $250,000 for the purposes of having AT&T relocate their facilities within the City of Aurora right-of-way along Farnsworth Avenue, Bilter Road, and Church Road.
Can I have a motion on that one?
Second.
Been a motion by Alderman Smith, second by Alderman Franco. Staff, can you, anybody from staff that can speak to this particular issue? Just explain the course of action that we're going to take with AT&T and why we're going forward with this payment today.
Ken Schroth, Public Works. So it's before you. Nothing's changed legally since we presented this at COW, but basically this is allowing the city to move forward with AT&T relocating their facilities within our public right-of-way on Farnsworth, but we will continue to work with legal to contest the fact that we believe it should not be charged per our franchise agreement with AT&T.
Council.
That's correct, and whether it needs to be made as a payment under protest with further negotiations with AT&T to explain the purpose of this and that it's related to something other than what they believe it's related to. Just make that a finer point for them.
So, Council, just so you're clear, when you say this needs to be designated as a payment under protest, I don't know that it is set forth like that in the language. Is that something we need to add?
No, it need not. That's something we can
Just
handle.
something that we recognize is going to be the case.
Correct.
Any questions or comments on that? Alderman
Yes.
Bug.
Thank you. So the time frame in the memo is there is a deadline of late November. So the negotiations with AT&T from our legal department, those can't go forward without this payment for some time? That would not interfere with our timeline?
Correct. Because of the way AT&T categorized this work, they want payment in full before the engineering is completed and they relocate their facilities. And because it's an early action item for our road contractor, it has to be done now before our contractor mobilizes and starts doing their underground work like stormwater and water main relocations. So you're right. I mean, we're trying to get the roadway project done before Black Friday, but there's a lot of work that has to be taking place right now. And ComEd's already out there doing their relocations.
Council, if you could reflect on or describe what we would do in an attempt to try to recover that $250,000 and how long that you think that might take.
Well, at this point, my understanding is the situation is that the AT&T has taken the position that they are not liable for the cost of this relocation because it's related to development as opposed to what's effectively traffic and needing to be done by virtue of the road and the traffic conditions which have organically developed there. So being able to provide them with that documentation, because I think right now we're operating under the assumption that AT&T has been accrediting all the cost of the extra traffic to development that the city is doing, which is not the case, and this was something that was planned before that. Making a fine point to that and providing the documentation to that would be part of this.
So just to be clear, our position and our lawyer's position that will represent us in this particular case is that this is AT&T's responsibility. The only reason we are paying this amount of money now is because we need to get the process going before November, but we will be disputing and protesting this and making sure we get attempting to make sure we get our money back.
That is correct.
Any other questions?
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like if they continue to disagree, and we continue to disagree, we're going to have a lawsuit to get our money back. I mean, we're paying them. Everyone wants to be paid up front. I mean, before the work's done. So they want $250,000 up front, and the legal issues haven't been worked out yet.
Correct, and we've got a $19 million roadway contract that has to be completed by November, and if that slides, even if, let's say, inflation is only 2%, which is low compared to what we've seen, that's $400,000 at risk. So that's why we wanted to move forward with this, keep the project moving, and then let the legal department work it out later.
With the legal fees.
Council,
right.
just, and Alderman Lash has a question, but before you, just please talk about the fact, your reading of the contract and how you and your team feel that AT&T is incorrect.
The position that it is our understanding that AT&T is taking is that they're not obligated to pay the cost of this.
Yeah, but our position, what's our position?
Our position is that they're obligated to pay the cost of this because the reason for the construction and the relocation is not related to the development, but rather traffic patterns and increased traffic in the area.
And as Alderman Bug pointed out, which could very likely be correct, if we don't come to an agreement, we would have to sue AT&T. Is that correct?
It would.
Or there are arbitration based on the contract?
We would need to move into some time-consuming process that would result in a delay of the project.
And when you say time-consuming, it wouldn't be anything we could fix next week.
That is correct.
All right. Alderman Lash.
I'll just share what I said about this during the IT committee meeting when this came forward. I'll keep it as brief as I can. Understanding that there is a timeline and ticking, but you know, I still feel this is a private company. It's their infrastructure, and we shouldn't have to pay for it. I think we probably have a weak legal case if we're saying that this is road expansion is being done because of organic growth, simply because we've played a role in actively putting new facilities and development projects in that area. I'll be a no vote on this, and I also did propose a suggested alternative, which is laying our own publicly owned dark fiber and then running it to AT&T and compelling them to use it, and that might be a more aggressive negotiating strategy to relieve the $250,000 fee. So thank you.
Counsel, given the fact that you're a lawyer and you have a legal opinion that actually means something, please tell the rest of the council what our plans are as far as going forward with this 250, and if for some reason AT&T doesn't agree, our position.
In the event that we were not able to persuade AT&T, we would go to the contract and exercise the remedies under the contract, whether or not providing extra fiber and then compelling the AT&T to use that fiber or whatever infrastructure is being relocated is probably not the most expedient way of getting this resolved, or the most cost effective.
And as far as the alderman saying that he believes we have a weak legal case, even though he's not a lawyer, do you believe we have a weak legal case?
I believe we have a good case,
Thank you. That's all we need. Any other questions?
Yeah,
Alderman
just
Bug.
one.
And then Alderman after that.
So really what we're pushing is that the north part of Butterfield is extended to 6 lanes, so this needs to be extended to 6 lanes. When we extended those north lanes on Butterfield, is there some document that says, point blank, I mean, hand it to AT&T, that says in the future, in the 5 years, 10 years, we are going to widen, or we are going to need widened that stretch south of Butterfield? Is there a document that says that?
It's part of our comprehensive plan to match what's to the north, but it's funny you bring that up because that was a KDOT project, and the reason it stopped at Butterfield is because KDOT loses jurisdiction at Butterfield, and it becomes 100% city's jurisdiction from Butterfield to the tollway.
South.
So this expansion is on the city of Aurora, south. So, you know, it's on us to make that match of the roadway section to the north when needed, and now's is the time to do it.
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman first.
um, this is a project in Ward 1, and this is a very busy roadway, and we can't afford to have delays with this project. If it goes beyond the construction season into next year, it's going to be very costly and very disruptive to the people that use that roadway. So I urge that we move forward with this and then take it up with AT&T at a later date to make sure that we get reimbursed for our funds.
And just one more time, unless there's any other questions, comments, Alderman Smith?
Yeah, could you explain to us in a little more detail, you did hit on it a little bit, if we decide to not follow through with, moving forward with this so that we can continue the construction process, if we decide to go against this and we decide not to do it, explain how we are leaving ourselves as a city. In other words, if we all vote no for this project, where is that going to leave the construction project, as you explained a little bit ago?
Yeah, basically dead in the water. So right now, ComEd's moving whatever poles they can move without being in conflict with these existing lines, nor where the new lines will be located. And the very first thing our contractor has to do when they get on site is to put the deepest utility in always, which is stormwater in this case, which is going to go right through where these AT&T ducts are. And at that point, our contractor can't move on. He can't connect future inlets that we need to put in that'll drain this new roadway. Everything just comes to a screeching halt.
So as good stewards of the city, which is what we are, voting against this would be voting against progress in that particular area of the city.
Correct. And then you'd find us back up here at the end of this year saying that we've tried to do our best to negotiate this $19 million existing contract that's already been let. And the contractor has justifiable additional expenses because he counted on labor being done in 2025 and not 2026. And so we'll be back before you for a massive change order to this contract to make sure this thing can be contracted next year.
Thank you. And I'm with Alderman Barrero. This is not something we can hold up. We can work with our legal. I have confidence in our legal department.
Alderman Lash.
Just a quick question. How confident are you that we'll get this done by Black Friday? I know you guys are working overtime and it's pretty, intense timeline
That
from
is
my
in-
perspective.
Yeah, that it is in an intense time frame, and every week that this is delayed, it just gets more difficult. But the primary, and I think we've got a good set of plans. The contractor still is on board with the construction schedule that he has now provided to us that shows it opening by Black Friday. So, but we have no chance if we don't approve this now.
Second.
There's been a motion made by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Garza. Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Alderman Barrero?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
No.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
11 yes, 1 no.
Motion carries, the resolution is approved, and I believe there was already a motion and second on the floor. You had
There was.
Alderman Smith and Alderman Franco.
Yes.
So was it the first time?
I have Smith and Franco.
All right, it was Smith and Franco.
I'm sorry, the first time, yes.
Yeah, the first time. All right, well, that concludes unfinished business. There is no new business before the council. There are no reports to
Motion to adjourn.
go over. Is there a motion to approve and pay the bills listed on the agenda? Motion
Second.
made by Alderman.
Mr. Chair?
I'm sorry. Alderman Bug?
Yeah, just on the bills, if I'm going to vote to approve them, can they reload them so they're not sideways?
Hold on, one second, we'll come back to that. So there's been a motion to approve and to pay the bills by Alderman Seville, second by Alderman Lash. Now, there's some issues, what?
Coming
are
in
they-
sideways.
They're loaded sideways, so every time we turn on iPad.
Who loads the bills?
They also turn.
What happened, brother? They're a little lopsided.
It was a fun little video game.
Chris Minnick, Chief Financial Officer. Not sure what happened, but we'll make sure it gets fixed.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or motions to remove any items from the bills, other than turning them upright? There being no questions, or motions removing the items, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Alderman Barrero?
Yes.
Alderwoman Garza?
Yes.
Alderman Masiacos?
Yes.
Alderman Donnell?
Yes.
Alderman Franco?
Yes.
Alderman Seville?
Yes.
Alderman Tolliver?
Yes.
Alderwoman Smith?
Yes.
Alderman Bug?
Yes.
Alderwoman Bade?
Yes.
Alderman Lash?
Yes.
Alderman Warman?
Yes.
12 yes, 0 no.
Motion carries, bills are approved, there is no need for a closed session. Now, I accept that motion to adjourn by Alderman Smith, seconded by Alderman Seville. All those in favor?
Aye.
This meeting is hereby adjourned.